Hi guys. Okay, so how do you juggle full-time work, being a student, and kids and a husband? Is that an accident? All I can say is really time management, and you need lots and lots of help. You need to get everybody involved, but before, like in your family, people you're taking care of, people who rely and depend on you. Before you even start the whole process, make sure that you have sat down with your spouse and y'all talked about everything. Because if you don't talk about it, then there are still assumptions and ideas that your spouse can have, because he doesn't come to an understanding that now that you're in school, you can't do certain things anymore. Like your time has to be allocated to studying. So that means certain things that you used to do around the house domestically, you may not be able to do them. So responsibilities and tasks and chores and all of that have to now shift. So that means he has to now start picking up the slack, because you need to study, especially if you're paying out of your pocket for the class, because you don't want to pay about $500, $600 for a class, including books, depending on how many classes you're taking, to fail, because it's coming out of your family's finances. So that's number one. And you didn't register for a class to fail it or to get a low grade and have a low GPA. You registered for that class so that you can be successful in that class and get the highest grade that you can possibly get. And we all are, going for that A and B. Nothing below that. So you have to have a sit down with your spouse, and also talk to your children, because your children are going to be pulling on you if you have kids. They're going to want attention, and you have to make time for them, of course, but they have to understand, okay, at this and that time, this is the time that mommy is going to study. So I would appreciate it if at that time you find something else to do, read a book, practice your math problems, practice your times tables, things like that, so that they won't feel that they're being rejected. One thing as a mom and a wife that you don't want to do to your family is make them feel rejected and make them feel like, they're a bother, because you're not communicating boundaries. You're not saying, oh, this is the time that mommy has to study. Everyone should know this is mommy's study time. Leave her alone. If you need to buy your kids some shut up and leave me alone toys, good, you need to do that so they can leave you alone. Oh, by the way, I don't tell my kids to shut up. I don't even say that word. That word is not even allowed in my house. Okay, so yeah, you need to communicate that with your family and have a chore list. Everyone start participating in chores. My kids, they wash dishes, they fold clothes. My daughter knows how to clean the bathroom, and they're 9 and 10 years old. I wish I would have started them early, because when I was 7, I was washing dishes. And everyone is involved, and I started them doing that when I said, okay, you know what, I'm going back to school, and there's certain things I won't be able to do. And depending on your relationship with your spouse and the unsaid things that each one of you guys do, and just his mentality, what it is, and what your husband helps on and what he doesn't. Like, my husband is the cooker. I really don't cook. I bake a lot. I cook when I have to, when he doesn't, but he's the main cooker, so he cooks. I do a lot of domestic things. I deal with the children. He doesn't really deal with the children with the homework and things like that. It's always me. Now that I'm in school, and plus I work full time, there are nights where I cannot help them with the homework, because I need to do my homework and I need to study and I need to prepare to go to work. So he's going to have to help them with their homework, and he's not really a patient person and a tolerant person. He doesn't really take well to foolishness. So my kids are kind of like, afraid that they're going to be yelled at and things like that. So he has to now begin to grow in the area of tolerance. And I think it's good for all of us, because there's going to be a time when, I possibly won't be able to be there and he has to step up. So it depends on your relationship with your husband. I'm just giving you an example of mine. Some husbands are, all out there. They do everything. But there are some spouses who don't, and it's mommy all the time. So if that's you and you're mommy, all the time, it is mommy this and mommy that, it's time for you to start shifting responsibilities. It's time for you to start communicating, because you want to be successful in what you do and you want your family on board, and it starts with communication. So communicate, get help. That's annoying. Get help, and make sure you prioritize. Get a planner and plan your day and check it off as you go, so that you know that you have successfully accomplished the task. And get a planner with a large writing space, because you have a lot to do. Excuse me. Don't worry about getting planners that cost like $100. There's this planner, that I see nursing students and nurses, they have on YouTube. It starts with the E, and they fill it with colors and stickers and markers and all of this stuff. You don't need all of that, really. You just need something with, and what I'm just telling you is, don't break the bank, and don't try to be in with the circle of nurses or nursing students and try to get what they got to make you feel that you are getting ready to accomplish what they have, or you're getting ready to fit in or something. Don't buy a planner because of that, because that's what a lot of people are doing. Oh, I need to get this planner. No, you don't. You just need to get something where you have a lot of writing space. If your school hands out free planners, those are excellent, because you get the days and the times of events that are happening, when the school is open and closed. You don't have to worry about that, because it's already pre-written. And plus, there is a huge writing and task area, so you can utilize that to the fullest. So get one of those and start to plan your life, plan your study times, and stick to it. Sometimes you have situations that occur that throws you off track, but stick to your appointments, doctor's appointments, and all of that. Stick to what you have written, because you need to trust that you can accomplish what you have set out to do. Because if you can't even fulfill the task that you wrote down, and be reliable in that, then that says something that maybe you're not really reliable to things in other areas. So make sure you stick to that, and that's a good training ground for you as well, so that you can be able to stick to things and fulfill tasks, and to be accountable to certain things. So yeah, and if you are a student and you don't have a spouse and you don't have a full-time job, you still have to study. I need to get in this lane over here. You still have to study, and you still have to make time to study, make time for your family. All the partying and whatever it is, internet or it's the phone, text, I don't know what people do these days. Some of that stuff has to be television, has to be cut out. Everyone knows their limitation. They know what they can and can't do, and we know what we have to sacrifice to get what we want. And everyone has sacrifices that they have to make, whether you're married, have kids or not. If you're a single parent, you need help from somewhere. And I'm sure, well, I hope that if you are, that you are getting that help and that support that you need, so that you won't be burnt out, so that your kid won't feel left out and rejected. That's one thing you don't want to do, is put your education or your career over your family. because you can never, ever get that time back with them. And they remember. They remember the times that they were neglected. They remember the times where they felt rejected. And this is some of the reasons why kids go off the deep end and they end up in places in life, all because they made choices based on their feelings of what their parents did to them. And you don't want that hanging over you when you can stop that in its tracks. So make time for your family, make time for your kids, and make time for your studies. It is doable. You just have to sacrifice some things that you like to do. Sacrifice you, don't sacrifice them. Okay? So you guys be blessed. If you have a question about anything, please put them in the comment section and I will get back to you. Bye.